Aloha! Lisa here with Upside Down Pilates and Nourishment, and today we are going to make ground beef and squash, and this can either be a GAPS stage 2 and beyond or full GAPS recipe depending on what you include. So let's get to it! Okie dokie, what are we going to need? We're going to need some pork side. We're going to need some pork side. 3 to 4 pieces of pork side, and you're going to cut it up into strips. Then 2 pounds of ground beef or ground chuck. You can really use any kind of meat that you want. I even at one point used leftover beef stew that I had frozen, not stew, but roast, leftover beef roast that I had frozen. I took it out of the freezer and used it instead, and it was delicious. We're going to need about a half an onion, and now I'm adding leeks in. I made a boo-boo and I've got a whole bunch of leeks I need to use, so I'm gonna add in, this is about 3 leeks, and this is half an onion chopped. You're gonna need a few tablespoons of ghee, a couple, 2-3 tablespoons of ghee. You're gonna need 4 to 6 cups of zucchini squash or yellow squash or a combo. So I'm using zucchini and yellow squash, and you wanna coin it. All right, you're gonna need about a teaspoon of salt, about 2 cups of shredded cheese, shredded cheddar cheese, and I will shred that here in a little bit. And some mustard, about a teaspoon of mustard if you're on full GAPS. If you're on stage 2, ixnay on the mustard. And then some yogurt or kefir, about 2 cups of yogurt or 2 cups of kefir. Remember, it needs to be fermented for 24 hours to get the lactose and casein out of it. And if you can't do dairy, then you're going to ixnay the cheese, and then if you can do kefir or yogurt, you can use that. Otherwise, you can ixnay on the kefir and the yogurt. Very up to you. Okie dokie, what are we going to need? We're going to need some pork side. We're going to need some pork side. 3 to 4 pieces of pork side, and you're going to cut it up into strips. Then 2 pounds of ground beef or ground chuck. You can really use any kind of meat that you want. I even at one point used leftover beef stew that I had frozen, not stew, but roast, leftover beef roast that I had frozen. I took it out of the freezer and used it instead, and it was delicious. We're going to need about a half an onion, and now I'm adding leeks in. I made a boo-boo and I've got a whole bunch of leeks I need to use, so I'm gonna add in, this is about 3 leeks, and this is half an onion chopped. You're gonna need a few tablespoons of ghee, a couple, 2-3 tablespoons of ghee. You're gonna need 4 to 6 cups of zucchini squash or yellow squash or a combo. So I'm using zucchini and yellow squash, and you wanna coin it. All right, you're gonna need about a teaspoon of salt, about 2 cups of shredded cheese, shredded cheddar cheese, and I will shred that here in a little bit. And some mustard, about a teaspoon of mustard if you're on full GAPS. If you're on stage 2, ixnay on the mustard. And then some yogurt or kefir, about 2 cups of yogurt or 2 cups of kefir. Remember, it needs to be fermented for 24 hours to get the lactose and casein out of it. And if you can't do dairy, then you're going to ixnay the cheese, and then if you can do kefir or yogurt, you can use that. Otherwise, you can ixnay on the kefir and the yogurt. Very up to you. Okay, we are going to start with a couple tablespoons of ghee, I'm a full fat kind of lady, so we're gonna heal our gut microbiome with some healthy fat, giving us the building blocks to heal the mucosa. And then we're gonna add in, as that warms up, we're gonna put in our pork side here. So we could use bacon, but remember bacon is processed a bit more, and so using fresh side really helps us out with less processing, but give us some nice flavor. So I'm gonna start to get that warmed up and cook it down, and then I'll come back and we'll add in some onions and leeks. Okay, the pork side is cooking down pretty good. So I'm gonna go and add our leeks. And our onion. Stir it around a little bit. Now remember, if you're on stage 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, you're not on full gaps, or you can't fry things yet, you're going to want to put all of this and the ground beef with, you know, a cup or so of stock, and then just let it boil until it's cooked. Ooh, Miss Lisa did not cut this very good. And take that out of there. So you want to boil it until everything is soft, okay? And then you can boil it down so there's not so much broth in there. But if you're past stage 3, you can start frying things. And oh wow, there's another one. Look at me. And do it like this. So wherever you are at, you can go right ahead. And then if this is going to be too difficult for you to digest, the pork side, just leave it out. You'll be fine with the ground beef. All right, I'm going to let this cook down a little bit, and then I will come back and add in the meat. Okay, so I've got this all cooked down a little bit. It is now time to add whatever type of meat you're going to use. Remember, the recipe calls for ground chuck. You can use the leftover frozen roast in your oven if you like, in your freezer if you like. You could use ground turkey, you could use ground chicken, whatever you've got. I didn't realize I didn't have enough ground beef, so I am going to use a pound of ground beef and a pound of ground pork, because that's what I had here, my people. Okay, and there's a lot of, I'm just going to use my hands. Alright, we're just going to plop it in there. And then I'm going to go through the process. I'm using the clean hand to show you of just breaking it all up. Alright, I'm not going to bore you with the whole process, but break it all up and let it brown. And then I'll bring you back and we will add the spices. Okay, so our meat's pretty brown. It doesn't have to be perfect because you are going to pop this in the oven for quite a while. We're going to add our spices. So if you're on full gaps, you can add mustard, or if you can tolerate mustard, about a teaspoon, ground teaspoon of it. If you're on stage 2 or so, I would leave it out. Then we're going to add about a teaspoon of salt. It says Celtic sea salt. And then we're going to add our garlic and my favorite chopper here. And I'm going to do about a teaspoon of it now. And then I'm going to mix about a teaspoon of it with my yogurt that we're going to put on top and bake it like a little cheesecake on top. So good. Okay, so now we're just going to mix this around. And look at my fancy new kitchen scarf that I love. This is my first time using it and I love it. I got it from a lady named Jenny. I will leave her information on how to get one. It's amazing. You just have it and you can, boom, there you go. You need to wipe your hands, you need to wipe something up, boom, it's right on your neck. And she makes them so fast and ships them out faster than I can say I would like one. So, okay, we're gonna let this now cook down just a little bit more, and then we're gonna get to the fun stuff of putting the squash in. All right, I'll be back in a moment. Okay, so it's all cooked down, the spices are in, and now I'm gonna show you how to do the zucchini. All right, so what you're gonna do, and this is just genius. I am assuming that Greg from Greg's Kitchen developed this, but this makes it so you have less dishes. You can just do this all at one pot. So what you're gonna do is pull this over about halfway, the best you can, and you're going to put your zucchini and squash, a layer or two of them down, just like this. Which is amazing. All right, it can be pretty. These are all zucchinis. I'll get some of the squashes in here. So he's using potatoes, but potatoes have solanine, so that causes joint pain, we know that. And then potatoes are super starchy, so that makes us fat. And potatoes feed bad bugs, so it's cheap food, but it causes a lot of problems in our body. So this is a great way to do a healthier, lower carb version that is GAPS approved. Okay, now what we're gonna do is take the cheese that we shredded, and we're just gonna pour it up here. Now you can drain off the water down there if you want, but I just leave it. So we're gonna put some cheese, and then watch this. You just move the beef over to the other side, or beef and pork over to the other side, just like so. And use your handy new kitchen scarf to hold this while you do it. And then when you start to see the little squashy guys, you can start putting your squash in on the other side. So easy. And I had a lot of squash. I didn't realize how much I had. And I was gonna ferment it, but then I decided I'll just make a big old batch of this. The last time I've made this a couple times now. And the last time I made it, I don't even think I got very much. My husband just ate it all. So, all right, then, oops, I almost forgot the cheese. Heavens to Betsy's. Then you put the yummy cheese down here. And there you go. You got your squash layer, a cheese layer, and now you've got your meat layer. Now you're going to do that again. So you're going to do another squash layer, another cheese layer, and then you're going to do the yogurt layer. And that's going to turn into like a cream cheese top. So I will come back and show you how to do the yogurt layer after I do this next part. Okay, so this right here is about 2 cups of yogurt that has been fermented for 24 hours. Remember to break down the casein and the lactose. And we're going to pop in our rest of our garlic, about a teaspoon of garlic here. And this itself, especially if you make the yogurt or kefir with cream, this is a delicious dip or salad dressing. You can do this with some avocado. It's a great snack. I like it with raw veggies. Sometimes I use it for my omelets. I'll just dip it. It's really good. So this right here is a delicious dip that you can have. And when it's uncooked, it's probiotic. And then the garlic is antibiotic. So it's really good for your gut. We are going to cook it though. So it does kill off all of the probiotics. But it tastes delicious. And it's a way that we can do this and get some deliciousness in our life. Okay, so we're just gonna pour this over the top. So Greg uses milk. but we don't do milk on gaps. Because so many people have trouble with milk, and a lot of times they don't even know they have trouble with milk. So then what you do is you spread it out on top. And so this would make it milky in Greg's version, but for our version, it'll cook like a little top of like a cheesecake with some cheese in here. And I think that's about it. Yeah. Okay, and then, and you'd be surprised, it looks like not much, but then when you taste it, it's delicious. Then we're gonna finish it off with the rest of the cheese. And it looks like I made enough that I might actually get some of it this time. Okay, so now we are all set with this. It's all put together, all in one pot. It does take a little bit of prep time, but it's really worth it, I feel. Now, I'm gonna put this in my preheated 375-degree oven and leave it. I will probably check it about a half hour, and then I'll check it again at 45 minutes, and this generally goes between 45 minutes to 55 minutes. And then we'll take it out, and hopefully by then, my lovely husband will be home, and he will do a taste test for us. If not, I will do it for you. Okay, I will be back in an hour or so.
And it's done. Crafty's excited.
And the taste tester is here,
Yes,
and he's very hungry.
Ready.
Okay, so let's see him take it out.
Okay,
Maybe,
just
hopefully. Whatever size you want.
Oops.
Oh. Oh.
Oh.
Oh.
Yeah, gotta get the.
I might have missed it. Oh.
Is it like there's a lot of kind of broth? Do I take the broth as well, or
You don't
maybe
have to.
later?
Yeah, we can do it later. All right.
Okay. Is it like a spoon kind of a thing, or a fork kind of a thing?
Probably fork.
Fork?
I like it with a spoon, but you can do either.
Oh, spoon? Okay, let's try spoon.
Okay.
Okay.
You've had this before, honey.
I have? I don't remember it. It's been a while then.
Well, you really liked it.
Seems like it's gonna be hot. The pressure of the camera on me as I, cool this off.
You're doing a really good job. Just be, should we?
You might have to edit some of the.
No, the people will enjoy.
Oh, you guys are gonna enjoy me.
Yeah.
Cooling off the
people
food.
will enjoy.
Smells good. I'm excited, but I just don't want to burn my mouth. I have a habit of eating it too quickly and too early, and I burn my mouth. So.
Should we stop?
No, I don't know. Well, it's up to you. You said the people like watching.
Well, if it's going to take 10 minutes for you to eat it, then...
Okay, ready? Here we go.
I'm ready.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember it?
I do not remember.
Oh, goodness.
It's good. It's really good. I mean, like, yeah. How do you want me to rate it or compare it or talk about it? I can talk about it in a variety of ways.
What does it taste like, and then how does it compare from yesterday?
Okay, what does it taste like? It tastes good. You have all the looks like really delicious ingredients in here. When you mix like cheese and beef with like vegetables and side, it looks like there's pork side in here.
Yep.
And was this broth? Was this chicken broth, or is that just
No,
the broth?
it's just the broth from the
beef
juice and the meat.
and the veggies and all that.
Yeah.
I mean, those are all really good food, like ingredients, right? So it's gonna taste good. So it is good. And then compared to yesterday, the shepherd's pie.
Yeah.
I like the shepherd's pie better. I'm not sure why necessarily, but for me personally, I like that better. Though this is good as well. And I would be happy to eat this, and I am going to be happy to eat this tonight. So
Thank you so much, honey.
Thank you. So I'm just gonna eat.
Do you have any last words of wisdom for this particular dish?
I mean, this is GAPS approved.
It sure is.
Then if you guys are down to do GAPS, which if you do GAPS, which I am guilty of not always doing GAPS when I'm not around home, but if you do it, I've had incredible results from it. Like it improves your health, in so many ways. You get more energy, you lose weight.
How much weight did you lose?
When I did gaps, like very like not religiously, but like consistently, when I did gaps consistently, I think I had lost 30 pounds. Yeah. And you lose it first in the belly, and yeah, you just get so much more energy and you feel better.
Did you gain that full 30 pounds back when you stopped being...
No, I did not gain the full 30 pounds back because I've been bad. But
you gained some back.
I gained some back.
But it's not like even when you went back.
No, but I am eating I'm eating far from perfect outside of home.
But you got nowhere near 30 pounds back.
No, not the 30 pounds back.
Like 10 pounds, isn't it?
I think it was like 10 or 15 pounds.
Yeah, and that's just like doing it only when you're around me.
Yeah. So I'd much rather do, this. But like, oh man, I don't know how many lessons you've taught this on YouTube, but I think the key is crowd it out, and I'm not totally crowding it out. I'm actually trying to get back into it at the office and stuff, so that like I crowd out all the bad stuff with good stuff, and then I just don't feel like eating bad stuff because it's like, oh, I have other options. So for me, I've actually stocked my fridge with some apples.
Your fridge at work?
My fridge at work, with some apples and like other things that are not cookies and those kinds of things, and just junk food. So, yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, love.
Thank you.
Until next time with you.
Yeah, it's delicious. Bye.